Hey everyone, this week I'm going to show you the new temporary self-watering system that I set up in the cuff flower area. Plus we'll check out some plants which I purchased from the discount table. Oh my goodness, I got some great bargains. And I also want to chat to you a little bit about why I prefer using sugarcane mulch as opposed to straw on my garden beds. And there's heaps of other things going on, so please just sit back and relax for a few minutes and let's get into it now. We just had a large storm roll through, and I'm telling you, this garden is going to absolutely love that abundant rainfall we just received. I'm hoping it's going to help the heads of the cabbages over here in this patch grow a bit quicker. These were the cabbage that I planted back in autumn, I believe, and they were under a lot of attack by caterpillars. Some of them looked pretty puny, but most of them have survived. Hey, do you see what I see? Is that a little cheeky caterpillar? It's a bit of an odd looking one, isn't it, with the spikes on its back. I just searched on Google, and this, what you see here, and I'm sure many of you already know, this is actually the pupa stage of the butterfly. I'm going to leave it there, just cover it slightly with the leaf so that nothing tries to eat it, and then hopefully, I don't know how long it takes, but we'll see a beautiful butterfly in one of the upcoming videos, and perhaps that butterfly may have come from this pupa. I just noticed this little bee resting on the carrot flower. It looks like it got caught out in the rain. It's absolutely saturated. The sun's out now, so hopefully that will help dry out his wings and he'll be able to go back to his hive. But for the moment it looks like he's got company from his little garden friends, the ladybugs. There's some exciting stuff happening in this raised bed which I planted out with tomatoes, capsicums and chilies. Look over here! The first banana chili. I could almost pick it now, but I'll wait until it gets a little bit bigger. And then down here we have the first tomato of the season. It does have a bit of damage, but that's all right. I'll take this as a win. In this bed, I've used straw as mulch. It's what I had at the time, but I prefer using this stuff, which is sugarcane mulch. I do find though that it breaks down a lot quicker, which some may think is a good thing, I guess, because it's feeding the soil or adding to the soil, where the straw is a lot slower to break down. So it lasts longer, and I guess overall it can save you a bit of money. But the one reason why I'm not keen on using straw is because I find this happens a lot. You tend to get little sprouts pop up. It just ends up being more work, which is annoying. This is a great example. You see all the sprouts coming from this seed head from the straw pack. I mean, I don't really want to grow straw. And it just means I'm coming around picking them out. A little bit of time has passed and the bee is still there. He's actually underneath the umbrella of carrot blooms, which is probably a better spot for him, because on top there he was quite exposed and I was a bit nervous that a bird would come and snap him up. But he's moving a bit more now and he looks happier, I think. Won't be long until he flies off. I still haven't covered up the dahlia tubers in these two raised beds, but despite that, they're continuing to grow. They don't seem to be too bothered at the moment, putting out lots more shoots. But I have come to the stage now where I want to cover it up because I need to make sure that I anchor this dahlia tuber clump into the ground, because it will eventually become very top heavy with blooms and stems. For the moment, all of this growth is coming from the reserve in the tubers, and as you can see there's not much attachment to the soil, but soon it's going to need nutrients and minerals from down here to feed the tuber in order to create beautiful big blooms. I think I forgot to mention last week what these plants are here. They're my Jerusalem artichokes. Remember I had a big patch of them down the back? Well, I dug up some of the Jerusalem artichoke tubers and popped them into this bed, and they're looking happy. And I think, yes, more ladybugs. Very fortunate this year to have so many of these beautiful garden friends helping me out with the aphids. In this container, which is located at the entryway to the raised garden beds, I have a bunch of gladiolus growing in here. The corms were only planted about 2 weeks ago and they've all shot up in this spot as well as in the long garden beds out the front, and they put on so much growth. I'm really hopeful now that I could possibly get flowers by Christmas. More of the snapdragons are flowering compared to last week. So many gorgeous colours. I think this one's my favourite. Oh, it's beautiful. And it's not just this bed. I've got another bed behind it with heaps and heaps of buds. Oh my goodness. I've been potting up seedlings as well. Sorry about the background noise, it's just the aircon because it's so humid, especially after the storm. Anyway, in here what you see is a whole bunch of amaranthus, which is going to be one of my filler flowers this year. Now with amaranthus you can actually just pop the seeds straight on the ground, but I chose to do it this way. Maybe I'm a bit of a control freak, but I do like knowing exactly how many seedlings I have. Like, I need to make sure I have some decent amount of flowers, especially when I'm selling them, and I feel more confident doing it like this. I got a temporary water system set up for the new cut flower garden beds. So far so good with the plants and seedlings which I placed in here, although I have noticed that some of the mulch is being disturbed by the birds, as well as losing a handful of seedlings. Here's the timer unit I purchased. I found it pretty easy to set up because the instructions were clear and straight to the point. I set it up into 2 zones, both going on in the morning for about an hour. I'm thinking I'm probably going to change it. I just need to monitor the ground and see how it goes over the next few weeks. For the moment, I've got 2 sprinklers set up on the end of each hose, but I plan on changing this to a drip irrigation system very soon. Like in the raised beds, I need to cover up these dahlia tubers properly, and if I have time I plan on topping up around each plant with some more compost. I think having these cut flowers arranged in rows will give me easier access for maintenance and harvesting, and hopefully there should be better airflow and sunlight exposure, promoting healthier growth and longer lasting plants with more vibrant blooms. Well, that's the plan. It's worked for many professional cut flower growers, so I'm hoping it works for me. We'll see how it goes, and I can't wait to show you the next update. Here are the discounted plants which I purchased this week. Down here are 3 edibles which were $1 each, absolute bargain. There's this one which is a red capsicum. Next up I got this tomato plant which is certainly ready to be put out into the garden or into a container. It's absolutely massive, but you know, when I look at these plants I don't see anything wrong with them at all. They look really healthy. I think this one in particular has just reached the stage where it just needs to be potted on. Let me just check out the root system, see how that looks. Oh yeah, beautiful and healthy. It's not root bound at all. This is going to do great in the garden, I reckon. Then there's this jalapeno chili. Now it is looking a little bit slightly yellow, which may mean that it's lacking some nutrients, but all in all I would say it's pretty healthy plant. Sometimes I'm baffled about why these plants get discounted. Sometimes I think it's because they're just not perfect. Like perhaps this one was reduced because the stem is slightly bent, but honestly that's not going to make much of a difference at all. Once I get this put out into its permanent home, it will start to straighten up and I think it's going to do really well. Moving on, I got some cut flowers. These here are snapdragons. I believe this punnet was originally about $17, but I got it on clearance for $5, and there's plenty of healthy plants in there. They are looking a little bit crammed at the moment, so I will need to make this a priority on the weekend, potting them up or planting them out so that they don't become under any kind of stress. Finally, I have this salvia fashion. It was reduced to $4 from $10, and again, I don't think there's anything wrong with this plant itself. Perhaps the garden centre was just trying to get rid of stock, and it does have a few little blooms on it which are almost like a fluoro pink colour. Well, that's it for this week, everyone. I'm back under the shade. It's so hot and sticky out today. I can't bear it anymore. So I'm going to say goodbye for now. But thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all again next Friday.